Well, a big g'day to all my mates out there in YouTube land. Last week we had the meet and greet with the vloggers here in Doomageddon at Sideways Bar, which was a really good turnout. We had a lot of people, a lot of subscribers, a lot of vloggers came down there, and we had a great day. So big thanks to Ewan for hosting the event there. It was quite enjoyable. Okay guys, today I wanted to, first of all, I just want to thank all of you new subscribers. In the last a month or so, I'm chasing that elusive 1,000 subscribers so I can get monetized. I think I'm in the mid 7s or something at the moment. So if you like the content, please share and tell your mates, so that we can start getting up there. Okay, on with today's topic or content. The last week, a couple of things happened. Number one, there was a low pressure system sitting out in the eastern Philippine Sea. It was thought to turn into a typhoon. However, it was affected by a northerly airstream coming down, and the shear line, as they call it, cut it into individual storm cells. So we've had a number of thunderstorm systems coming through Doomageddon. Then we'd get a sort of an overcast light rain, then again a little bit of sun, and then another thunderstorm system would come through. So instead of that system becoming a typhoon, as it was thought to develop into, it was a series of a number. Even now, as I'm sitting here, it's about 30 odd degrees, quite overcast, but no real strong winds, so we escaped that particular typhoon. Also last week was the anniversary or memory day of Typhoon Yolanda, which happened in Tacloban, Leyte 10 years ago. And I have a bit of a connection to that, in that 18 years ago I built a house in Leyte, about 45 minutes out of Tacloban, up a mountain. Why did I do it? I don't know, but I did. It seemed like a good idea at the time. But my wife inherited 4 hectares of coconut plantation, so we went ahead and built a nice 2-story house up there. It was the only concrete house on the mountain. Typhoon Yolanda, well, to my knowledge, possibly the largest typhoon ever recorded in history, in modern time anyway, with winds gusting up to around 300 kilometers an hour. The connection I had, apart from my house being there, I lost a couple of roofs, sheeting on the roof, and 2 sliding doors blew out. But Tacloban was completely annihilated. It was completely destroyed. In fact, I lost a good mate of mine, old Aussie Sam. Sam and his wife had an eatery close to the airport at the time. As the storm increased, or as the typhoon increased with the wind speed, he went home to be with his wife and kids. Sam would have been probably in his late 60s, maybe early 70s at the time. One of the things that happened in Yolanda was what's called a storm surge. Now, even if you had to ask me, I would have thought the storm surge was as the wind picked up, that was the storm surge. But actually what a storm surge is, similar to a tsunami, but it's caused by the vortex of the typhoon pushing the water up. In fact, I believe it was recorded as that storm surge hit landfall, it was around 14 meters high, which the hydraulic pressure of that wave was the main contributor to wiping out the entire city of Tacloban. So Aussie Sam went back to be with his kids and wife, as I said, and as the water level rose, they got up under the roof, as did many other people. When the level kept rising, the roof detached from the house, and as it receded, took him and the family out to sea, never to be seen again. So, very extreme situation, but that was Yolanda. Yolanda was a very, very extreme typhoon. It reminds us that, you know, Mother Nature can strike at any time. I don't really believe there's a season for typhoons anymore. When I first moved here, people would say it's between this month and this month. I really don't know. I don't know the answer to the actual typhoon season. So what this video basically was directed towards was to being aware and prepared. Now, I'm not talking about being a doomsday prepper and digging tunnels and everything, but just some basic common sense applications that you can do for those guys that perhaps have never been or experienced this sort of extreme weather condition and have just come to the Philippines. I've met quite a lot of guys that have landed here in the last few weeks, few months, and possibly have never experienced a typhoon. Okay, so let's get into it. Simple preparation. First of all, obviously, you know, it pays to follow the meteorologists, you know, some of the YouTube or online media about weather as it sort of develops in around, especially if we're in Dumaguete and Philippines in general. And that's obviously easy to do. So just every now and then, just keep a little bit of an eye on some weather channels to keep aware of what's developing out in the east. They generally come from the east. That's where Leyte is, and Samar, which also got hit with Yolanda. I was sitting here the other day thinking of some basic stuff that I could relay to you, and my mind started going crazy. So I wrote a few things down so I didn't forget. The first thing that came to mind and that happened in that particular typhoon is it took out all the power. Now, obviously, there's a whole host of things that are related to power. Just about our whole life is related to power. But forget about ATMs. So the first thing I would suggest is have some cash stashed somewhere safely at home, as much as you can possibly put away, because in a scenario where power's down for days, weeks, if not months, you're going to need money, because cash is king, right? So that's the first thing. Be prepared with some emergency backup funds. And that just doesn't go for typhoons, it goes for medical emergencies as well. Believe me, if you haven't got money, you don't get out of a hospital. So moving on, with your power being down, I mean, over here, trees, you know, in Australia, if there's a tree coming close to a power line, they'll cut it down and just keep it clear. Here, you'll see trees growing through the power all the time. So it's quite likely power will go down. We had Odette here, what was that, 18 months ago or so? And yeah, the power will go out for days. It takes a long time for the power company to go around and fix all of the lines that are down. So on that power issue, money, first of all, get a radio, a little radio, battery operated radio that you can keep up to date with what's happening around. There also is obviously readily available now some solar gadgets, obviously lights being the first. If you are in a house, a 2-bedroom house or 3-bedroom house or something, you might want to invest in a little generator. They're quite cheap. You don't need a big one, but just a small little generator you can pick up for a couple of $100. A great investment. So power, also charging your phone. Obviously, if the power goes out likely you'll have no signal as well, and you won't be able to charge your phone. There'll be a lot of people lining up to charge their phone. So just little simple things, you know, I'm sure you can think of the obvious when it comes to power. If you're living in a hotel or perhaps a multi-story building, the lifts, if they don't have a generator, your lift is going to be out. You're not going to have any aircon. Okay, so I used to get by with a fan for many years. Now I'm getting older, I really love my aircon. So also perhaps if there is a system moving in and it looks like being a fairly significant one, and you're in a small nipper hut style out in the province with your girlfriend or wife, maybe consider booking into a hotel for a few days with a generator, obviously. The next thing is water and food. Again, I keep referring back to Yolanda, but it was weeks before they could really get some emergency supplies on the ground. The airport was completely destroyed. They had to clear that, they had to repair it, so the big Orion supply Air Force planes could actually land with supplies. So water, keep an extra couple of those big, you know, what are they, 25-litre water containers around. Food, whenever I go shopping now, I invest in an extra couple of cans of tuna, maybe some pasta, maybe some rice, stuff that's not going to, you know, non-perishable, that you can keep in the cupboard for this particular type of scenario. Rice, pasta, tuna, sardines, that sort of stuff. Maybe some canned spaghetti, some soup, you know, you get the gist. The other thing is cooking. You may have an electric cooktop, or if you have gas, invest in a backup bottle of gas. Or you could get, I've got a little butane, small little cooker that runs off of butane cans. You could invest in one of those. They're 600 peso. So as a backup, you can cook some rice or whatever. Not a bad investment. Torches, batteries, the obvious, you know, it's just common sense stuff. But you might be a day or two away from one of these systems coming, and then there's a mad rush to the supermarket to try and grab stuff. They sell out. Candles, just this sort of stuff. With your car and motorbike, if the typhoon's approaching, don't park it under a tree. Make sure it's secure somewhere. Make sure you've got some extra fuel, gasoline. Get yourself a jerry can. Stash one of those away. You know, like, you can only imagine the line up at a gas station to get fuel, especially if you want to get out of the place. It's going to be horrendous. So always good if you can. I mean, I live in a small studio apartment. My preparation is going to be pretty basic. But if you're in a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom house, you've got the room for extra water, extra fuel. Not a bad idea. Ropes, tarpaulins, again, referring mainly to if you're in your own house. If your roof goes, you can always put a tarp over it with some ropes. Check your roof. Maybe you bought a property, maybe you've built a house. Pending this particular event, get on the roof. Make sure your screws are tight and hammer down some of the nails. Just stuff like that. You can put tape across the windows just to try and reinforce the wind force. In my situation, I had big pieces of plywood that I'd put across. It saved a few windows, but I still lost a couple during that Yolanda. I did write a little bit of a list out. I'll just see if I've missed anything. That's mainly it. And just, have a look around the yard, secure any loose items that might be floating around the place. That's pretty much it, guys. So just not trying to be an alarmist or put the fear of God into you, but if these things are starting to build up, and as we just saw last week, it was possible that one was coming in, and actually it was tracking. There were three possible tracks it could take. One of them was the middle one, which was heading straight for the Versailles, which was pretty much straight towards Dumageddon. So just be aware and be prepared, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate it. If you see me out and about in Dumageddon, please come and say g'day. Share the videos. That's a really important thing, because that helps my channel grow. Until then, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, mates.